Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video I'll be going over everything that you need to know about Enlisted's menus, how to navigate them, and even a little bit more with the actual gameplay itself. This game's menus, until they improve dramatically, have to be some of the most confusing menus I've ever used for any video game, so hopefully I can sort them out for you. Again, I will go over everything, so this video is, by that metric, also a beginner's guide. I also have a top 10 tips and tricks video linked below if you'd like to get better at Enlisted. And additionally, I do have a giveaway in this video that will be active around the time of release, but because the intro is already long enough for this video, I'll go into the details a little bit later. Just know that one of the requirements of the giveaway is to subscribe to my channel. Again, I'll go over the rest later. That said, let's get into it. So to start, you have your main menu. This is likely the source of all of your confusion in game. Now let's go over what it all means, starting with the basics. On the left, you have your squads. These contain the troops that you'll be bringing into battle. Now, before I get into how you can modify your squads, if you notice up here, this is your total squadron size, or squad size. I'm used to War Thunder. Now, you can have a maximum of 6 soldiers in this squad. However, as you can see here, you can have a maximum of 3 assaulters and 6 troopers. Now, you can build these up as much as you want to this maximum limit in whatever order that you want. So, for example, you can have 4 troopers, 2 assaulters, 3 troopers. You can have less than the maximum. It's really up to you. And this can be modified by going to the squadron upgrades, but I'll go over that in just a moment. Now, that said, let's get into modifying your squad. So you can go here to managing squads, and this is where you can add more troops to your squad. Now, these troops are troops that you can earn via logistics, which I will go over in just a few moments. So, as you can see here, you can add a soldier, and it will be added to the squad. Now, there are certain soldiers that are just not acceptable. So, for example, I just added an assaulter to this, and because now I have my maximum amount of assaulters, I can only add a trooper. So I have 3 and 3 for my maximum of 6, as mentioned before. And something that's very important to note is that you can only have a reserve maximum of 54 troops, unless of course you have a premium account, which I do at the time. But this is a revolving thing, so if you lose your premium account, then the limit goes right back down. So as I said before, you can just kind of move around and just kind of take your troops and kind of do it like this and so on and so forth. That's kind of your most basic way of managing your squad. Now, as you may have noticed, there are numerous different squads here. Typically, you start off with 3 or 4 squads to start, but you can also add more squads so that when you're in the middle of a fight, you can just kind of pick from different ones. So popular ones to add are your vehicle squads and also your plane squads. So you can just go down here. And this is again to add your groups, so your squads, rather than managing your individual squads and removing and adding soldiers from them. This is to just add those squads in total to your fighting capacity, so to speak. So again, you can just kind of move them in and out of right here. Now, I don't really have a squadron to swap out, so I can't really swap it out. It's just kind of fixed there until, of course, I move up in the campaign or purchase another squad slot. If you play War Thunder, you can kind of think this as another crew slot. And these give you a lot of versatility when going into battle. So of course, again, you have your basics, you have your snipers, you have your assaulters, you have your tanks, you have your aircraft, so on and so forth. And within each squad, you can swap out vehicles and just kind of move on from there. But I'll be getting into that in just a moment. Now, before we get much further, let's just go into perks and just managing individual soldiers. So I'll just click on Edward Trent right here because he's a level 3 soldier. And as you can see, I do have a perk slot available. So you click on this and you can see that I have numerous perks I can choose. Now, if you see on the bottom here, these are basically perk limits, if you will, and I'm not really sure if if they put any sort of term on them. I mean, I guess they're putting soldier perk points as the term that they're using here. So let's just say if you have 2 of these soldier perk points, right, that you have to use. As you can see, I've already used 4, so I can only use a maximum of 5. And so when I pick this, or if I decided to pick this, then that would put me at 6, so I would only have 3 of these left in my reserves. Now basically you can get higher perk points by leveling up your soldier. So you can do that by fighting in a match or by sending him to the academy. So let's just say I'll pick this 100% stamina. That sounds like a pretty good deal. I'll just do this. And as you can see, all of my stamina perk points, or my heart perk points, if that's what you want to call it, are now consumed. So unless I level up my character sufficiently, then I will not be able to add more skills that require this perk point. So just bear that in mind when you are trying to level up your soldier. Now, if you click here, list of possible perks, you can see all the perks that you can use. And these are all the perks that I could use when it comes to the stamina here, and you can get up to 35% extra vitality, otherwise known as health, which would come in massive use, so to speak, when fighting in a match. So from here, let's go to the weapons. So this one is very, very important and something that I feel like is extremely confusing, and Gaijin did not do a good job of explaining it. So I'll just click on weapons right here. This is the primary weapon, and it brings me to this screen. So as you can see, I have 2 stars, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But this is how you're going to want to, or going to be able to, switch out weapons for each individual soldier. And I'll go into this in a moment, but you can get new weapons via logistics, which you can then get by doing a number of things. So as you can see, I am an assaulter. There are certain weapons that are not available to assaulters, but you can go to KAR98K, and as you can see, I can just swap it out. I wouldn't do that because this is an MP34 class, and really it's just good for the MP34. And really, as you can see here, I do have various different weapon loadouts and whatever, and as you get up in level in this campaign, you will have more weapons to choose from. Now, this being said, one very, very important thing to note are these stars right here. Now, these stars basically indicate item level. Now, item level basically gives you new upgrades. So as you can see here, I have a reload time of minus 10%, which is reflected here. So if you have any modifications, they will be reflected in this screen. So if I were to swap this out to a level 1, as you can see, it does not really count for anything. Level 1 is basically the start of it. Whereas, if I were to get to level 2, again, you can see I would have that minus 10% reload. Level 3 would then increase rate of fire, vertical recoil, and horizontal recoil would also decrease. And then finally, level 4 would have hit power and shot deviation be improved. So as you can see, there are numerous stats to improve. One very important thing to note is just this entire stat card. And a lot of people don't really know exactly how much power a certain weapon has, but this is exactly where you're going to find it. So as you can see, this is a 9mm cartridge with a hit power of 5.7. Now this is a very handy guide that basically shows you the hit power as it goes through the air. So at 300 meters, you have less than half the hit power that you would have normally. Now, very interestingly, again, this is a 5.7. You can swap it out for the KAR98K. This has a 14 hit power. And it's not until you get to 400 meters that you have the same hit power approximately as you would with the MP34 at 10 meters. So it is a big difference, and that is tremendous, just tremendously important when you're trying to figure out which weapons you like to use. As you can see here, you have rate of fire, vertical recoil, so on and so forth. Basically all of the stats here. And if I were to go right back to here, you can just see exactly vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, so on and so forth. I'm using that term a lot. You also have firing modes here, so you can swap back and forth between semi-auto and auto. Of course, this is a submachine gun, so you're probably going to go auto. But if you have for some reason, a somewhat longer range shot that you want to take, semi-auto is the way to go. And now for the part that some of you have been waiting for, the giveaway. So as I mentioned before, you do have to be subscribed, but you also have to comment below. And basically, in order for me to consider it, just make the comment something about the game, whether you like it, dislike it, one of your favorite parts. Maybe if you're coming over from War Thunder, how it compares from War Thunder, why you got into this game, whatever the case may be, just comment below. Again, you do have to be subscribed to my channel and comment below in order to win. Now, the prize will be an Enlisted starter pack, which includes 4 different troops that you can use in the invasion of Normandy for the Allies and Axis, and also the Battle of Moscow for the Allies and Axis. And they do contain submachine guns, plus 3 days of premium time, so it's really cool. The giveaway ends on April 29th, 2021, and I will select a winner on April 30th, 2021, and I'll just comment on the comment. I'll reply to your comment, and I will tell you if you're the winner. So keep an eye out for your notifications, and at that point, just share with me your in-game name. Heck, if you want for your comment, just put your in-game name there so I can just transfer the prize over to you, just so it's simple as that. That can be your only comment, whatever the case may be. It's a really simple thing. I want to make this as simple as possible, and I want to let you guys be winners on my channel. So either way, just let me know in the comments below, and also remember to subscribe and keep an eye out on your notifications on April 30th. Now, of importance here as well are your various different equipment slots. So as you can see here, I'll just use grenades as an example. You are not stuck with the stock grenade that they put you with when you start the game. So you can click on here, and I've already started distributing various grenades to various classes that did not have grenades or the grenades that I wanted. But for example, I could just swap that out for a Molotov cocktail and use that. Of course, I'd rather have the M24 grenade, but that is what it is. Now, another thing that you can do are, purchase mines and all that, and you can get those again via logistics. Mostly everything in this game is via logistics or squad upgrades. So you can also get a second primary slot as well. You can get that again through squad upgrade systems. So just be wary of your loadout because you can change it. It is not stuck. It's not in stone. As you can see here, I've got the MOS 36, the KAR 98K, MP34, and Mannlicher M1895 all in one squad. So you can really set it up how you want, and the more weapons that you get, the more weapons that you can equip your soldiers with. And one thing that I did not just touch on, but I will now, is the fact that you can disassemble weapons and then use those parts to then improve other weapons. As you can see here, these are all level 0, and I have 8 of them. So this is prime candidate for disassembling, whereas a level 2 might be something, especially if you're just starting, that you want to keep. So as you can see down here, being that I have 8 of these, I can just go click on this, and now I have 4 extra spare parts for a total of 8 that I had before. So I'll just kind of do that again. Got 2 there, 2 there, so on and so forth. Now, in order to level this up once, I have to spend 30 of these spare parts, and bear in mind that each spare part is unique to that weapon. So if I were to disassemble the KAR 98K, then those spare parts, believe it or not, would not be able to go towards upgrading a KAR 98K with a scope mount. And that goes universally for every single type of variant of a weapon. So let's say, for example, if I had a KAR 98K with another modification, or a Mosin Nagant with some modification versus a non-modified Mosin Nagant, or whatever the case may be, these just disassembling the basic model of that weapon will not give you spare parts. So if you think, oh wow, I've got 10 KAR 98Ks or 10 of this, 10 of that, so I can just disassemble them all and then make a super sniper or something, not gonna happen. You have to have that specific weapon in order to disassemble and then get spare parts for it. Not sure why that's the case, probably just so that the grind can be artificially tougher, but that is how it is. And again, once you do get those upgrades, you can start seeing right here the better results from them, and it's a little bit quicker with the KAR 98K than it is, for example, with the MP34. So that all being said, let's just kind of finish out this main screen before I go over to these other screens here, and I promise these other screens will be substantially quicker than this whole main screen is taken. I'll just go over to here, the invasion of Normandy. So as you can see with the Axis, I have level 4 on the invasion of Normandy. With the Allies, interestingly, I have level 3, and that's because I played them fewer times than the Axis, so I have a lower level with them. And interestingly, you can go up here, switch campaigns, and voila, as you can see here with the Germans, I have level 2 and totally different squadrons and all of that. And with the Allies, I have an even lower level than this. And bear in mind that I have exhaustively gone through these menus, so until or unless they completely change these menus, even though I am a relatively low level in this game, this is one of the things I do for a semi-living. I make guides for games, so I've gone through all these menus, and I've made sure that my information is correct. So just going back to Invasion of Normandy here, because that's the main one that I play, there are certain things that will not get transferred over. So soldiers, for example, will not be transferred from mission or from campaign to campaign. So your soldiers and squads from, for example, the Battle of Moscow will not transfer to the Invasion of Normandy. Weapons, all that, they will not. So if you upgrade a weapon in one, you cannot bring it to the other. And there are some weapons that are just totally exclusive between campaigns. There are maps, vehicles, all of that are just unique to campaigns. So just bear all of that in mind, that if you have, for example, the Sonderkraftfahrzeuge 234-2 or /2, that will be unique to Normandy, unless, of course, they bring that to other campaigns in the future. You cannot currently use that in the Battle of Moscow. So if you really like this vehicle, you won't be able to use it in other campaigns. So just bear that all in mind. So to help finish off the main page, I'll just go over here to the battle tasks. And as you can see here, these are basically just tasks. If you play War Thunder, you're pretty familiar with this. They will be tasks that you just have to complete on a daily basis, and you can get various things. So in this case, I click on this. I've completed spend 9 minutes in battles, which is really easy. Basically just play a match. Click on that, and you get a single order for weaponry. So this varies from task to task, but the next one up is spend 10 minutes in battle. So if I wanted to switch that out, I could click on that. I'm not going to, because that's a really easy one. But if you want, you can just kind of swap these out. So I could swap this one out, for example, build 25 fortification objects. It's not something that I typically do, so I can just click on that. And now I have kill 45 enemies using semi-automatic guns. And for these tasks, as you can see here, you will get, this is an order for troops, and this is an order for weapons. And the more that you get done, the more that you get done in Battle Pass, the more stars that you get done. So I can click on this, which is, well, obviously Battle Pass. And if you're familiar with War Thunder's Battle Pass, this pretty much works in the same way. There's a certain element that is free here. So if it says free over top, those are the rewards that you can get without buying Battle Pass. But for example, this, you can get silver order for weaponry, which basically means that you're going to get better weapons. That is something that you have to pay for in order to earn. And that is totally separate from premium time. Now, premium time, as you can see up here, I do have a month of premium time. I decided, hey, why not? You know, it's good to experiment with that. And especially being that this is a new game, I'd rather level up quickly than not. So I can click up here, and it is 990 coins, basically enlisted coins, in order to earn 30 days of Battle Pass. And you can see all the benefits here, pretty good. You know, 100 plus 100 soldiers for reserve size, as you saw before. That will help out massively as you basically level up in this game. For early levels, that doesn't really matter as much because you won't have that many soldiers, but it is very, very important. And finally, as you can see here, game mode squad. So basically, this is the game mode that most people see. This is where all the bots and all that. So basically, you just kind of run around and you are the main person and you have X amount of people in your squad. Again, that is dictated by how many people you decide to put in your squad over here. And basically, let's say if you die, then you can swap into another one of your squad mates. Finally, when it comes to, and this is just the current game modes, I'm sure there will be more in the future. Lone soldiers, basically, this is more of your typical, I wouldn't say team deathmatch, but it's just, there's no squads. It's all just player-controlled characters. So you will not be just sniped out of the blue by some random AI that has omniscient view. It's just all player controlled. So some of you might find this to be a little bit less stressful because you're not being constantly killed by computers. That is also an option. Okay, so finally, with the main menu all over, with everything gone over, and tell me below if I missed anything, let's go over everything else. So, as you can see here, we have the orders of weaponries and troops and all that, and also your gold, but that's not really important. You can see that more or less on any screen. What is important is the campaign screen. So, as you can see here, we do have basically the farther up that you get in each campaign. So, in this case, the Invasion of Normandy, the more troops that you have the ability to use, the more different weapons that you have the ability to use. So as you can see here, I'm pretty much on the precipice of being able to use the FNAB 43, And then following that, I can start using flamethrower troops. Following that, you can use the Gewehr 43. So there are many different options. Bomber, for example, which would be able to, if I'm not mistaken, destroy tanks. So there are just plenty of options that you can unlock as you play the game. So these will be available. These are available to everyone, and you can just kind of speed your way through it more or less by spending Gaijin coins. I would not advise that. Premium passes or premium time is just much, much better. And again, these are different between Allies and Axis and between each campaign, so bear that in mind. So with campaign out of the way, let's get into upgrades. And I was just thinking to myself, the fact is, this is a really, really long video. It's actually one of the longest videos thus far on my channel. And the fact that I have to make this video just to go over basically the main menus is just ridiculous. Gaijin really needs to simplify the menus of this game, or just offer some sort of a text description, because I was confused as heck when I first started playing this game, and I'm sure many of you watching were confused. Hopefully I've cleared that up, but let's just get into upgrades here. So upgrades are basically earned. You can earn squadron points, which are used for upgrading your squads via squad upgrades, personal upgrades, or workshop upgrades. And you can get these points by using your squad. So as you can see here, I have a level 9 Grenadier Squadron, level 8 Fusilier Battalion, level 17 Grenadier Regiment. And basically, you just kind of get these, again, by playing the troops in them. So they all have different, as you can see here, up here, squad points available. And that's because there are different levels. And one thing to note, though, is that even though the squad points between each of these squads are different, it does not mean that you have different squad points available for squad upgrades, personnel upgrades, and workshop upgrades. They are all shared between each of these within each squad. And you can use these upgrade points, these squad points, in order to basically make your squads better. So if you want a larger reserve size for a certain squad, you can just click on this and unlock that. Now, if you want, for example, a backpack slot upgrade for troopers, you can just click on that. If you want a secondary weapon slot upgrade, you can just click on that. And these are individual upgrades. So if you take one, you cannot take the other. So just bear that in mind. So let's just say, for example, I'll just use a secondary weapon slot for troopers. So this might be important if you want, let's say, a close range weapon such as a submachine gun when you have a main, a bolt action for your main. So I can just click on that. And as you can see here, once I unlock that, I can no longer unlock backpack. So it's basically a one and done. So if you see those dots going from one to the other, then that basically means that you can only select one. Now I have one more squad point available. So if I were to go here, let's just say, for example, I wanted to unlock the Mannlicher M1895 level 3. Basically, that means that if I were to disassemble enough of these firearms, I can now get it to level 3, which is great. But the problem is that I don't have enough of these firearms to get to level 3, so it might make more sense if I were to make the modification cost go down so I can just get more level 2, or level 4, I mean to say, so I can just get to level 2 and 3 a little bit more easily. So I just click on that, and those are all the squad points I have available for this squad. And of course, these are different with each and every squad. So being that this is a Grenadier attachment or a Grenadier regiment, it's going to have different upgrades that you can use. For example, you might be able to add one engineer to the squad, one radio operator, one bomber. This might be extremely useful if you want to take out tanks. Whatever the case may be, you can just check them out, read the description, and you can kind of add them. And typically personnel upgrades are going to be more along the lines of just, what sort of weapons you can use, the upgrading your individual troops and things of that nature. So there's just tons of upgrades, and they're very dependent on the type of squad that you use. And really the guide here, the key here is just to read the descriptions. But again, each of your squads have different levels, which then give you different squad points per squad, different amounts of squad points. But in each of these squads, this total of 4 squad points, for example, is shared between squad upgrades, personnel upgrades, and workshop upgrades. So you're going to want to put them where you need them most, and don't just think that you have unlimited amounts, but you can also purchase more squad points if you want with enlisted coins. So really, there's just tons of possibilities here, but once you get a high enough level with each squad, you should have most, if not all, of these squad upgrades unlocked. And now finally, we're getting right near the end here, so let's just go right over to logistics. And as you can see, I have new offers available. So basically, these are going to be equipment or weapons logistics, which will be for order for weaponry. As you can see here, I can either use it on equipment, which would give me grenades, smoke grenades, explosive packs, whatever. In those cases, I do need 2 order for weapons of the bronze class, or I can purchase a grenade pouch, small backpack, tools, small ammo pouch, or med kit. And now if I were to go back, more likely than not, you're going to want to use those for weapons. You can just go over here, go to random weapon delivery. So you do need a silver order to actually get the type of weapon that you want. But if you don't mind just getting a random weapon, you can click on that. And right there, I just got a level 3 Manlisher M1895. So that's actually really cool. So you can get actually up to a top level weapon by getting either the random or the ones on purpose, I guess you could say. Again, you do need those order for weapons, so you can kind of look at them up here. You have bronze, silver, and gold. Gold will allow you to get the better weapons, the weapons that you can get on purpose. So right here, you can get the Schmeiser MK36-3, or if you were to have a gold for troops, you can get Heinz Coleman. In my case, it's Heinz Coleman, which is a level 5 assaulter, which would then grant you access to all perks. Now, finally, you can just go to random troop reinforcement, and basically it's going to be the same exact thing, except instead of weapons, you get troops. So I can just click on this. And now I have a level 2. I just got 2 different soldiers here. I have a level 2 sniper and a level 1 attacker pilot. So pretty cool, and again, you can just get that from having random troops reinforcement. So again, those are really, really important, especially if you want to upgrade your weapons. This is how you get the weapons that you're going to need to disassemble in order to upgrade your current weapons that you might already have at a higher level. So for example, that Manlisher M1895, I will probably just disassemble other basic ones in order for me to upgrade that to a level 4. So really, there's just tons of possibilities, but that more or less, except for the Academy, rounds out the main menus. And finally, the Academy. This is where you're going to go to send your troops, basically just to upgrade their stats, and it will reset their perks. So just bear that in mind when you do this, but it will give them more perk points and all of that, and you get half Academy time, so it takes half as long to train your troops by putting them in here if you have premium. So I'll just kind of give you an example here. So I'll put Friedrich, Hubertus, and Conrad. And as you can see, it should give me more or less these results when I'm done. Start training, and it puts me on a 2-minute 30-second timer. And as you can see here, the training has completed, so I'll press finish. And basically what happens is, it's kind of weird, but you put in 3 troops and you can only get 1 back. And unless you're willing to spend 50 enlisted gold, or you're willing to increase your premium, your battle pass rating. So basically, if you purchase battle pass and you get one of the keep soldier sort of things, then you're not going to get to choose which soldier you get back. But it's kind of like you put in 3 pieces, get back 1 improved one. It's almost kind of like the disassembling of weapons, except instead of disassembling weapons, it's a survival of the fittest, and 2 troops die and 1 survives, basically. So that's more or less how the Academy works. You get a much improved troop, and you lose 2 other ones. So just make sure you're not getting rid of the troops that you really like. And so finally, when you're playing the game, if you look on the bottom left hand of the screen, you'll see the status of your squad. Basically, it's not really so much of a menu as it is a status bar. It just tells you if they're alive or dead, or kind of what status they're in, and if they still have their equipment on them. So if it shows the skull and crossbones, clearly they're dead. If it shows that they have dynamite, for example, on them, or an explosive pack, whatever it's considered to be, that means that they still have their secondary weaponry. So it just kind of not only helps you guide yourself to which person you might want to jump into next if you die, but it can tell you the status of your squad if you're trying to lead an assault. But that all said, thank you all so much for watching, everyone. I had no idea that this video would be this long. I thought it would have been at most 1/5 or 1/6 of this long. So if you've stayed with me this entire time, thanks so much for watching. I wanted this to not only be the most thorough video for Enlisted, but the most thorough video for the entire time that Enlisted is out, and it keeps these menus. So if I could help you, seriously, it means the world to me. And if you could, please comment, subscribe to me, like, and also if the giveaway is still up by the time you watch this video, I hope you win. Either way, this is Tankenstein again, signing out for tonight. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.